been a long time coming.
I am so stoked about this opportunity. I'm just happy these guys are able to put this fight together. And obviously, I'm towards the end of my career. I figure I got 3 or 4 more years left, and nothing better to finish it up than fight in front of my home crowd and in my home state of Maine. I'm originally from a little town called Eastbrook, Maine. Well, I started martial arts back in grammar school, high school days, taking karate at Tracy's Karate. I'm sure everybody knows where that is, in Ellsworth, Maine. And wrestled in high school, and then was looking to do something else. Played a lot of basketball, was playing semi-pro football, but it just wasn't satisfying enough for me. So I had a chance to do some fighting, and I tried it, and I loved it. Just loved to fight. I was bullied through high school, and then all of a sudden I grew. Next thing I know, I'm a 6 foot, 300-pound man. And people didn't want to bully me anymore, but I still had a lot of aggression, a lot of frustration about all those bullies. So I had the opportunity to get out in the cage or a ring, wherever I saw foot, to do it in. When I first started training, I did it out of a Gold's Gym in PAL in Bangor, Maine. Gold's Gym, and then the PAL underneath the police station at the Bangor police station. Trained with Marcus Davis, who still fights, who's still well known, been in the UFC, had a good career. Sean Darby, who passed away a few years back. Shannon Odom. We all just got together and trained a couple times a week because we all bounced together at the Bounty Tavern. So we were kind of doing it just to stay in shape and better ourselves, make sure we didn't get hurt while we were bouncing, and we enjoyed the sport. And we had the opportunity to go to Rhode Island Valley Tudo and fight, and out of all of us, I was the only one to do it. So I did, and just got lucky and got a quick knockout. Just got addicted to it. I think it was Manny Neville's gym was my pro debut against Randy Durant or Randy Rowe. It was a Randy something. I know they both have had decent careers. They both have fought. And, Jamie Levine was a referee, and the so-called thing was whoever wins this fight gets a I think a WFA contract. That was his fight organization. That's what Pat Militias, Jim Pulver, all those guys were fighting at. And I had won, and he told me he was going to think about using me and so on and so forth. The next UFC was coming up in New Jersey, and went down there and saw, Jens Pulver fight and Mark Hughes, and Pat was there, and just started talking with Pat, and he's like, why don't you come to Iowa and train? I think the whole transition for me moving from Maine to Iowa is, I was working a 60-hour week job. I was self-employed, subcontracting, doing construction and stuff, and bouncing on the weekends and stuff. And it was just, just monotonous, getting up at 5 in the morning, going to work, and not getting home to 6 at night, and then still trying to go to the gym for an hour or so, and then just getting back home, eating, and going to bed. I just got tired of it. I only had Sundays off, and I said, well, I got some money saved up. I'm just going to give it a whirl and move to Iowa. Pat invited me out there. I had gone out there previously for a couple weeks to train and really loved it, got along with everybody good. The training was tough and grueling. I was getting my butt kicked every day. So I knew that if I wanted to make a go of this, I had to go someplace where people were so much better than me. When I was in Bangor, I was better than everybody else. I was just so much bigger, overpowered guys and stuff. I really didn't learn a lot, but just my size and strength helped a lot. So moving out there, it was just a godsend. I got with Monty Cox and Pat training me and stuff, and the rest is what you've seen and heard about from here on out. I was 15-0, and they called me. Well, they called my manager and said, "Who is this guy? We want him. He's 15-0. He's 6'8", 265 pounds. We don't have anybody this big in the UFC. We want this guy." The UFC debut was 5,000, 5,000. 5,000 to show, another $5,000 to win. So a grand total of $10,000. And then my sponsor paid me like $250. So big difference. Paid the manager 20%. And then medical costs and bills and all that were just over $1,000. So I walked away from that fight with probably about $7,000 in my pocket. It didn't last too long, and then all of a sudden they're like, "Hey, we want you to fight for the title, and they're gonna pay you 20 and 20. $40,000 is a lot of money to me. That's what I was making back in Maine. Working 60 hours a week. Today, $40,000 is not a lot for the UFC. That's what they're paying for a fight of the night, knockout of the night, submission of the night. And I had to win that. I had to beat the champion to make $40,000. And I think my sponsorship money paid me $500. It was huge. They had me come back and participate in the actual parade in Eastbrook, Maine, where I'm from. They were putting up signs on the actual road that I grew up on, Maine-iac Highway, no longer Route 200. All the local businesses in town were home of UFC Heavyweight Champion Tim Sylvia. My father, he's so proud. He got a banner made up and said the actual home of, local home of Tim Sylvia. He put that on his house. Just a big banner that said Tim Sylvia used to live here or whatever. It was cool, man. Everybody in Maine graciously took me in, and it was awesome. I missed it. I definitely missed it, and I think me being able to fight back here in Maine is hopefully giving back to some of those guys that couldn't see the fights or didn't watch the fights or didn't go to the fights. It was in New Jersey, so a lot of people from Maine did show up to it. Once they hit mainstream, it was on Spike TV, and The Ultimate Fighter came out, people were like, oh, that's what Tim does. Okay. And, they all started watching, and then they started showing a lot of my older fights on Spike and so on and so forth, and, the fan base got even bigger.
Now, since then, you actually asked for your release from the UFC, if I'm not mistaken. That's what I saw reportedly.
Yeah.
Do you regret that?
Absolutely. I regret leaving the UFC 100%. At the time, Affliction came out with a great offer, and I would have been a fool not to take it, but they didn't fulfill the contract, and they folded up, and I got blackballed. I think my goal is to eventually get back in the UFC. I mean, that's where all the top fighters are. That's where the exposure is, and that's honestly where I want to finish up my career, is back in the UFC. Off the top of my head, specifically, Chech Congo, Stefan Struve, Matt Mitrione, Pat Barry, Moorcraft, there's many others. I mean, there's like 5 heavyweights in the UFC division right now that would be really tough fights for me. And obviously, that is Alistair Overeem, Junior Dos Santos, Frank Mir, Cain Velasquez, and probably Shane Carwin. Those top 5 right there are a very tough fight for me. The fight could go either way. All the other ones, I believe I win easily. I still believe today that I'm just a mixed martial artist. Obviously, my strength is stand up. I have a good wrestling takedown defense, and I never take anybody down. I don't care to. I want to stand up and knock people out. If they fall down, I might jump on them and try to pound them out. But at the end of the day, I'm always going for the knockout. Oh, I know there's going to be a lot of old faces out there next time I'm down here to fight. There's actually fights tonight that I'm going to, and I've probably got a dozen or so friends coming down just to hang out and stuff. So I know there's going to be a lot of old friends, old co-workers, ex-girlfriends probably showing up at this fight. I'm not really concerned about who's standing across from me. I got some great trainers around me right now, and I'm doing the right things. And my last fight was at 265. I think at 265 I'm pretty much invincible. As long as I go out there and perform the way I know I can and the way I've trained to, there's anybody out here that's going to beat me. Hey, this is the Maine-iac Tim Sylvia. June 16th, Lewiston, Maine. I'm coming home.
Saturday, June 16th at the Androscoggin Bank Colisee in Lewiston, mixed martial arts cage fighting returns. In the main event, see Maine native and former 2-time UFC Heavyweight Champion Tim the Maine-iac Sylvia. Tickets are available now at thecolisee.com. More info at newenglandfights.com.
What's up, guys? This is Tim Sylvia, the Maine-iac. June 16th, Lewiston, Maine. I'm coming home.